Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Augusta, Illinois, Southeastern High School, as we are here for Southeastern Lady Sons Volleyball as they host Rushville-Industry Rockets. Here's the starting lineups. Oh, the excitement of not being called last in starting lineups. Kara Stevenson, who is the highest number on the team, usually most times gets announced last, as they do a lot of guys and announcers, girls otherwise, do announcing in numerical order rather than in right back, right front, so on. Or so today, Mr. Schulian did it in serving order, I do believe, is how I did it, which would be right back starting first or right front, depending on whether you're serving or not, depending on how I did that. But at any rate, Kara Stevens got to go in the middle, which is very unusual for her, and she seemed to be quite excited about it. So here we go. Rushville-Industry Rockets on your right in the whites. I want to thank Peyton Totten for running the camera tonight for us. I believe he'll be back running it for us again tomorrow night. So if you see him around town or in school or whatever, give him a shout out, as the Rockets will start with the serve here as we get ready to go. With set number one, it was 25-7, 25-14 Suns in the JV contests. This is Varsity. Let's see how it starts. Right off the bats, it is a kill for the aforementioned Kara Stevens, and the Suns lead 1-0. Back to serve is Morgan Wilcox. And pushing it over is Putnam on the free ball. Tipped down, dug up. That was number 20, Devin Vogler. And that's a ball hit out, a hitting error, and a point for the Suns. Wilcox gets her first point. Against Macomb last week, Morgan Wilcox served 7 straight in her first service. We're not going to keep stats tonight. Going to do things a little bit different. Pushed across by Ford, and that time out of bounds on the attack by Stevens. A hitting error and a side out. Back to serve is going to be the senior for the Rushville-Industry Rockets, Avery Esther, number 14. An overpass. Vogler was there, and Vogler's going to hit it again as Van Beck was able to bring it up. Stevens got a hand on it for a block, but it is going to be a kill. We're tied at 2. Esther goes back to serve again. I don't know if that was going to get over the net, if it would have dropped back on the net, which way it would have fell. But Vogler was going to take no chance. Stevens again dug in the back row. And on the attack and down and in. Across the net it went. That was Becca Lewis on the kill. The Suns still playing without Kenzie Griswold. Had a procedure done last week. She'll be gone all of this week, at least it sounds like. 3 matches this week. Block off the hands of Vogler, out of bounds. A kill for Kara Stevens. And a side out for the Suns. We're tied at 3. Back to serve for the Suns is Adriana Starks, the 5'5" senior. Vogler, Wilcox, Stevens, tips it across. Dug up by Ford. They're out of system. Vogler's going to push it across. Stevens is there. Van Beck, Stevens, dug in the back row by Caitlin Feck. Sent across by Lewis. Rigg is there. Now to Stevens again. Lewis is there. Ford's going to set back to Lewis. Lewis is going to hit it off the net and down. Went through the block of Stevens after it hit the net. And it's going to be 4-3 Rockets on top. And back to serve is going to be Italy Ford, the senior setter for the Rockets. I think they were playing a 6-2 when we saw them earlier this year. She looks to be the only setter in a 5-1 now. There's Stevens on the attack. That time Fleck can't get down to it. Another kill for Kara Stevens and a side out for the Suns. Stevens will come back to serve. She'll move to setter. Van Beck will leave. Riley Hart will come in for the Suns. 4-4 the score. Rigg, Putnam, and Hart in the front row. Rigg will be on the left, Putnam on the right, Hart in the middle. Back set. That's Vogler. And Rigg tried to hit the ball over, but got it into the post, and it'll be a side out again. So we're doing a lot of sides out. Devin Vogler back to serve now for the Rockets. This little floater comes across outside. Rigg pushes it deep corner. Vogler's there. Ford, back set. Esther tipped across and down. Between the block of Rigg and Hart, and down to the floor it goes. A point for the Lady Rockets and Vogler. And they lead by 2, their largest lead of the match. Vogler serve, nice hard low serve this time. Rigg going to push it to the net. I don't know if that got touched. They must have said it did by Esther in the front row. That was Lewis on the kill. Vogler's going to get another point. A jump serve by Vogler. She's went right, left, and middle now. Or the right, middle, and left, I should say. And a dig by Stevens. Rigg's going to push it across. Esther of the senior variety is back there. And the pass is unusable, a side out, and a much-needed one at that. Coming back in is, for the first time, I should say, I believe, Morgan Simmons. Actually, Morgan starts, was in for one rotation and left. Stevens, Hart, Wilcox, who's now in the middle. Hart's on the right side. Blocked down and through the block. Kill for Lewis, and Lewis now will go back to serve after getting the side out for her team. They lead 8-5. Lewis's serve. Wilcox is there. Stevens back out to Rigg. Rigg is off the net and down. A kill for Tegan Rigg, and it's 8-6. Hop in that live chat. Tell us where you're watching from and who you're cheering for. We love to see it, and we also like for the players to go back when they want to and watch. They can see it as well. So hop in the live chat. Tell us where you're watching from, who you're cheering for. Van Beck back in the game. Down it goes. Dug up in the back row by Lewis. Tipped across. Starks is there. Van Beck. Back row attacks Stevens. Down in the deep right corner. Lewis couldn't get there. And it is, actually that was Vogler that couldn't get there. It is a point for Van Beck. And we're down to a 1-point lead now as Van Beck back to serve again. Lewis is there. Ford sets middle. Blocked, dug up. Dug up again, but they're not, well, they might. Nope, not going to get there. That's a kill, I believe, for number 19, Miley Martin. And it's a side out back to the Rockets. Subs coming in now. The younger Esther leaving. Coming in to serve is going to be number 7, Kaylee Shaw, a senior. There's Jocelyn Esther, freshman left. Shaw gets the ace as they serve receive, failing for the Suns that time. It's 10-7. Cross court, out, just barely a hitting error. And it's 11-7. Still Shaw serving. Wilcox dug up by Shaw. Blocked, dug by Van Beck. Stevens goes to get it. Rigg hits it across, dug by Vogler. Outside it comes. On the attack is Esther, and she's going to get the kill. The senior Esther gets the kill, and the Suns want a timeout. We'll take one as well. You're watching TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH.
My philosophy in pediatrics is definitely prevention, early intervention, and advocacy. Being an advocate for my patients is one of the main reasons why I got into pediatrics in the first place. I like working close with families and being able to empower moms, especially first-time moms, or empower any caregiver. MDH Peds gives that family-centered care. My name is Leilani Segura, and I am a pediatrician at McDonough Districts Hospital.
And welcome back here to Southeastern High School in Augusta, Illinois. It's Southeastern Lady Suns Volleyball hosting Rushville-Industry. The Rockets lead 12-7 here in set number 1 of the varsity match. It was all Southeastern in the JV contest, but Rushville-Industry is controlling things early in this varsity contest. Rigg is there. Van Beck. Stevens from the back row, off the block and down. Kara Stevens gets the side out for the Lady Suns, and they close the lead back to 4. Tegan Rigg coming back to serve. That'll put Stevens back in the front row. Block out of bounds, using the block and creating a blocking error was the senior Avery Esther, and another side out for the Rockets. Going back to serve is the libero. I believe that's Caitlin Fleck. If I can read the number there, I might be wrong. Get her to turn around. It's actually number 9, Lainey Greer. Stevens, Greer on the dig. It's going to go out of bounds as Kara Stevens gets another kill. It's 13-9. Morgan Simmons leaves. Kylie Putnam checks back in. Morgan Wilcox goes back to serve. tipped across. Van Beck is there. Starks to Stevens. Trouble. Esther goes to get it, though. It was off of Lewis. A free ball comes across. Wilcox is there. Van Beck to Stevens, and off of Greer it goes. A kill for Kara Stevens, an assist to Jalen Van Beck. Those two have done that a lot through their careers, and they are only juniors. Morgan Wilcox back to serve now one more time. 3-point lead for the Rockets. That was Shaw. Now it's going to come to Vogler, and it's out of bounds. Well, they call it inbounds. I thought it was out. They call it in. It's a side out. Avery Esther going back to serve now with her team up by 4. Stevens, Van Beck, back to Stevens. The joust at the net is won by Vogler. Rigg. Stevens after the block by Vogler. That was Putnam. Now Vogler off the block of Stevens and down. Oh, they called net. They called a net violation, excuse me. So I got to see if I got the score right here. 15-11. It looks like it's right. Nice dig. Stevens is blocked by Vogler again. Vogler again on the block. Putnam again. And that one is out. The block, huge for Rushville-Industry right now. As Vogler is having her way at the net. Forward with the serve. Van Beck to Stevens. Throws it across. Esther's there. Out to Lewis, and she's going to hit it out of bounds. Trying to come down the line. Got a little too far around on it. Want to say hi to Pastor Tom Spain watching in Plymouth. Says, go Suns. Thank you for watching, kind sir. We appreciate you greatly. Stevens back to serve with her team down by 4, and it's a service error. 17-12. QND in the house tomorrow night. We'll have QND 2 nights in a row as the Suns play host to QND tomorrow night, and then the Bombers play host to QND on Wednesday night, and a free ball can't get across the net. It's going to be a side out. Morgan Simmons in to serve. Her team down by 4 still. Vogler, a nice pass considering she was late to it. Starks and Simmons struggle for that one, can't get there, and it's going to be a kill for Lewis. And a side out. Lewis will go back to serve now. It's 18-13, Rushville-Industry. Vogler went to get that one. Esther now. Simmons with a dig. Outside to Rigg from Stevens. Tipped across. Forward is there. Now it's going to go middle to Miley Miller. Now it's going to come back to Esther. Back outside this time to the other Esther. Now middle it goes to Miller. Dug by Stevens. Hart going to set to Wilcox. Tips it across. And Wilcox is going to get the tip kill and a side out. 18-14 now. Jalen Van Beck coming back in to set and serve. Lewis. Now it's going to be Avery Esther. She hits the pin. And it's going to be a hitting error, more of a setting error really than a hitting error. But Van Beck gets the service point nonetheless. It'll be a side out, or a point for the Suns. Now Van Beck's setting it up to serve again. Lewis is there. Forward, outside. Avery Esther is dug by Simmons. Bump set out to Rigg. Rigg, deep right corner. Lewis is there. Ford tracks it down. It's going to come back to Avery Esther. It's going to be a free ball this time, though. Stevens is there. Van Beck, outside Rigg. Rigg is blocked, dug up, back there by Ford. Now it's going to come to Esther, pushes it deep. Simmons is there. Now Van Beck tips it across. Vogler came to get it. Ford back to Jocelyn Esther. It's dug by Van Beck. Outside Rigg. Rigg down the line. Oh, they're going to go get it and a free ball. No, they're going to hit it across. Great job by Jocelyn Esther, the freshman. Miller had hit it across. That was Wilcox again. Ford now quick to the middle to Miller. And it's going to be, after all that, a point for the Suns as Miller couldn't get up to the set quick enough. And it's going to be a point for Southeastern. This game being brought to you, of course, by Adams Experts. Looking for top-notch local computer sales and repair services? Call Adams Experts in Quincy at 217-214-3423 for fast, friendly, and affordable assistance. We make technology work. That's Adams Experts, your go-to when your computer goes down. And Ron Elby Auto Sales with locations in Macomb and Augusta. With 80 years of car sales experience, Ron Elby Auto Sales is your hometown go-to for your next car. In Macomb on East Jackson Street, stop and talk to Justin, Jared, or Chris, or visit www.ronelby.com to check out their inventory. As Van Beck comes back to serve again. Dug by Vogler. Nice pass to Ford. Avery Esther. Oh, nice pass by Stevens. Rigg's going to send it across. Blocked by Miller. They're going to get a free ball across. Stevens. Van Beck out to Rigg. Down it goes. Tegan Rigg gets the kill. Van Beck going to serve it up again. Vogler again. Ford, back set to Jocelyn. No, that's Avery Esther. No, that's Jocelyn Esther. I was right the first time. I had to see which 13 or 14. She gets the kill, does the freshman. She'll leave. Shaw will come in to serve. Shaw kind of opened up the game earlier. Now the lead that was 5 is now 2 at 19-17. Outside, Wilcox drops. Oh, nice try there by Avery Esther, but they couldn't bring it up, and it's going to be a kill for Morgan Wilcox and a side out for the Suns. And Tegan Rigg coming back to serve. That'll put Stevens back in the front row for the Suns, and then Rigg sails that one long. A service error makes it 20-18. Greer with the serve. Stevens drives one to the left and down. Kara Stevens gets the kill. Wilcox back to serve now. Shaw went down to get it. Bump set out to Vogler. Tipped across. Punched up. Putnam's going to have to send a free ball across. Lewis was there. Vogler in the middle. And off the block of Stevens and down. Devin Vogler has won the battle at the net so far tonight with Stevens. She has been dominant up there. 21-19. Avery Esther serving. Overpass. Well, Lewis was there. Now Stevens goes to the corner and down right on the line. And another side out. 21-20. An ace for the Suns, and we're tied at 21, and that's the first tie since I believe 3-3. It had been all Rushville-Industry through the middle stages of this set. The Suns have come back of late. Stark's going to leave another one short. Be pushed across. Van Beck's there. Stevens on the second attack is going to drive it home. And the Suns have their first lead since 2-1. And another timeout is going to be charged to the Rockets. This game also being brought to you by Sports Corner at 124, Macomb's original local sports bar. Sports Corner at 124. With a focus on local sports, you can catch WIU games and all area TSSR Game Time live broadcasts at Sports Corner at 124. All while enjoying your favorite cold drink and some of the best food in West Central Illinois. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, if you're not here watching the Q&D game, you can stop up there and take part in some trivia. Wednesday night, $1 wings. Thursday night is steak night at Sports Corner at 124. Van Beck to Stevens, off the block and down. Also, don't forget to go M&B Furniture. They have free delivery within 40 miles of Bushnell. Stop in and see them. The 400 block of West Main Street. Stark serves it up again. And she's dropping the ball really short. There's Lewis, Wilcox, Van Beck, Stevens, deep left corner and in. 24-21. Starks leaves it short again, right at Lewis, though. Middle to Vogler. She tips it across. Putnam's there. Stevens now is going to tip it right side, and she's going to get another kill. And the Suns are going to come all the way back and get a 25-21 win on a great comeback, which looked like there was no chance of that happening early in the set when the Rushville-Industry Rockets really controlled things. They took Vogler out of the match a little bit, and away the Suns went, 25-21. Suns get a win. We'll take a break. You're watching TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH.
The rewarding parts of my job are seeing people over time and seeing getting to know them and getting to know their families. And that's very exciting to see them and get them better over time, especially if I'm able to find out something that other places haven't. And that's kind of what drew me to family medicine. You know, I try to get along with people and treat them as I would my family. Do what we can to get the patients taken care of day in and day out. It's pretty supportive. I'm Dr. Michael Waters. I'm a family physician here at the McDonough District Hospital Family Clinic.
Every McDonough District Hospital sports medicine and rehabilitation patient receives one-on-one appointment times with a licensed staff member. They develop a personalized recovery and treatment plan to turn your setback into a comeback. We offer physical and occupational therapy, vestibular rehabilitation, speech-language pathology, cardiac and pulmonary rehabilitation, dry needling, and pelvic floor therapy. MDH, your community physical therapy partner, growing our legacy one patient at a time.
I'm Lindsay Schaefer. I'm a physical therapist specializing in pelvic floor physical therapy here at McDonough District Hospital Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation. Young women, a lot of them have pelvic pain. They don't realize that it's something that they don't have to live with anymore. It's very common for people to have urinary leakage. And I always say it's common, but it's not normal. It's not something you need to live with. I also focus on hip pain, back pain. It's all kind of connected. Any age really can benefit from it.
And welcome back here to Southeastern High School in Augusta, Illinois, as we are ready for set number 2. Southeastern Suns come back to win set number 1, 25-21. Josie Vogler watching, says proud sister of Rushville, number 20, watching from Canton, Missouri. So Devin's sister, Josie, watching from Canton, Missouri. Josie, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Devin had quite the opening sets. They found a way to kind of take it away from her in the end, but she was dominant early and in the middle stages of that set. It'll be the Suns serving this time. Tegan Riggs starting things off. And Van Beck is doing some river dancing out there. I don't know if you could see that on camera or not. Riggs serve into the net, a service error. So we'll give the Suns the game, and the first point goes to the Rockets. Just like last last set. Greer to start things off. Rigg, that kind of curved on her at the last second. Stark's going to send a free ball across. Greer is there. Lewis is blocked by Stevens and Starks, but it goes off the block, out of bounds. Another point for the Rockets. Greer opens with a service point, and the Rockets lead early 2-0. Stevens off the block of Ford, out of bounds. A kill for Stevens, a blocking error for the Rockets, and Morgan Wilcox coming back to serve for Southeastern. Let serve, dug by Shaw. Outside Lewis, through the block. It's going to be dug up. Van Beck, now Stark sends it across. Greer is there. Ford, middle, Miller. Nope, that's Devin Vogler, excuse me. It's going to be Stevens, a free ball. That was Esther. Now Lewis is going to push it across. Rigg, bump set, Van Beck. Greer on the dig from Stevens. Stevens digs that up. Van Beck back to Stevens. Off the block of Vogler, and down it goes. Shaw put her hands on her face, but I'll tell you what, that ball came off of Vogler's pinky is about all it got, and no further away than she was. That would have been a really hard pass to make for Shaw back there as it took a turn, a right or a left turn to her, right off the hand of Vogler. Stevens back across to Shaw. Ford. Vogler off the block, and down it goes. Devin Vogler, another kill. 3-2 now. It's like deja vu all over again. Becca Lewis going back to serve now. Outside, Putnam. Greer on the dig. Lewis on a bump set. Avery Esther on the attack. Van Beck. Stevens tips across and down. Called net either way. It would have been a side out. 3-3 the score. This is where we were in the last set as well. Vogler on the attack. Rigg. The free ball by Stevens. Greer had to go get it. It might have been out of bounds, but man, that would have been close. Esther's going to punch it across, and she's going to just tap it into the deep left corner, and what a shot by Avery Esther. Italy Ford's going back to serve. New player in the front row is going to be number 2, Caitlin Fleck. And Stevens sends that one out. Here we go, 5-3. Stevens tips it across and down. Hung in the air, just tipped it across. It's 5-4, and she'll come back to serve now. Putnam will come in, Van Beck will leave. And another service error. 6-4. Devin Vogler back to serve. Miley Miller into the front row. So it's Fleck, Miller, and Esther in the front row. Outside, Rigg blocked by Fleck. Now back to Rigg again. Tips it over. Ford went to get it. Fleck. Oh, what a shot by Miley Miller. She knew where the coverage was coming from, and she went right behind it, and it's 7-4. Down inside the 10-foot line with a little tip. Vogler back to serve again. She's got one service point, looking for a second on this service. Rigg puts it down the line. Ford is there. Bump set Fleck. Miller's going to push it across. Putnam. Stevens out to Rigg. Rigg is going to push it across. It went through the block, dug up. Ford's going to have to push it across. Stevens is there. They're out of system. Putnam out to Rigg. Oh, what a one-handed dig by Devin Vogler. And unfortunately, they couldn't do anything with it. But what a dig by Vogler to keep that even in play. Now it's going to be Morgan Simmons coming back to serve. for the Suns, down by 2. Fleck on the attack, dug by Starks. Now Riggs going to push it down the net. Esther's there. Back out to Esther. Nope, it's going to be a back row attack. Vogler. Starks is there. Stevens, middle to Wilcox. Tipped across and down over the block of Miller. And it's a 1-point lead for the Rockets. Morgan Simmons coming back to serve again. Short serve and an ace. As Lewis Vogler came diving in to try to make something happen, couldn't get there. Simmons going to drop one in again. Yes, she is. Oh, it's going to go to right to Lewis this time. Not a great pass, but Esther's going to have a chance to make a little bit of an attack. Stevens, Putnam, Wilcox, deep left corner, and in. Dropped it in a deep left corner. And the Suns have an early lead, 8-7. They didn't lead until 22-21 in set number 1. Trailed by as many as 6. Vogler with the serve receive. Ford out to Miller. Blocked, dug up by Stevens. Hart to Wilcox. Blocked. Nice job to go down and get that by Esther. Ford, middle to Miller. Miller is going to be dug by Starks. It's dug out of the net, and they can't do anything with it. It's going to be a side out. We're tied at 8. Avery Esther going back to serve now. Her sister Jocelyn, at least I think it's her sister Jocelyn, came in and served or played the front row last set. This time it is Caitlin Fleck playing the front row. Greer comes in. Esther's going to go out. Hart leaves. Van Beck back in for the Suns with the team up 9-8. Vogler on serve receive. Ford back sets to Fleck. Dug by Stevens. Outside to Rigg. Rigg off the block. Dug by Vogler. Ford outside to Lewis. Dug by Stevens. Van Beck outside Rigg again. Off the block. Dug up by Miller. Greer went to get it. Fleck sends it across. Van Beck this time. Stark's going to do the setting. Wilcox going to punch it across. Lewis there again. And somebody was in the net. It might have been Miller. And a point for Van Beck and the Suns. Van Beck serve, this time at Lewis. Ford right to Miller and a quick in the middle. Punched up by Wilcox. Riggs going to have to send it across. It's going to be dug by Wilcox on the block. She couldn't do anything with it, though. Hit the bottom of the net. Nice job by Miller and Fleck on the block over there. Miller leaves. Shaw comes in to serve for the Rockets, down by 1, 10-9. Shaw, Stevens out to Rigg. Or Wilcox, excuse me. Morgan Wilcox gets the kill. A side out for the Suns. That was a big hit from Wilcox. Wilcox will be on the left again with Stevens in the middle. Free ball is going to come across. Rigg, Van Beck. Stevens off of Greer and down. Rigg will go back to serve. Greer goes to get it. Ford a bump set. Lewis on the attack. It's out of bounds. I don't think it was touched. And it's another point on the hitting error. Riggs serves it deep this time. Greer's there. Nice pass to Ford. Now it's going to be Lewis trying to tip it across, and she didn't get it across the net. It's a hitting error and a timeout charged to the Rockets. We'll keep it here. Tell you this game being brought to you by M&B Furniture, Bushnell's only furniture store. M&B Furniture is a mainstay in the community and offers free delivery within 40 miles for everything you need to furnish your new home or replenish an old one. Stop and see the fine folks at 41 West Main Street or find them on Facebook, Instagram, or on the web at www.mandbfurnitureincom.com. You can also call 309-772-2111. And MTC Communications, having slow, unreliable internet just doesn't cut it in 2025. MTC Communications offers lightning fast, reliable fiber internet, video, phone service, and camera systems to the McDonough, Henderson, and Hancock County areas. Visit mtc.crowdfiber.com to check your availability. Rigg back to serve again with her team up by 5, 14-9. The largest lead they've had in this match. They won 25-21, and there's an ace off of Vogler, who has passed the ball very well tonight, but that time it ate her up just a little bit. Esther comes in, Greer leaves. See if Rigg serves right at her. That time she tried to, but didn't get it across the net. A service error, and it's a 15-10 game. Greer goes back to serve now. Shaw, Esther, and Greer in the back row. Ford, Vogler. That dropped in. What a serve by Greer. Everybody in the place thought that one was going to be out, and that just kind of died and fell right at the end line. 15-11. That was a great serve by the libero, number 9, Lainey Greer, just a junior. Stevens going to tip it across and drops it short. Shaw come diving in, but couldn't do anything with it. A side out to the Lady Suns. Putnam comes back in. Simmons leaves. Back to serve is Morgan Wilcox. Shaw outside. Vogler. One-handed dig by Wilcox. Oh, they're going to have a chance to get across. They will get it across. What a job. Shaw's there. Ford now out to Lewis. Rigg. Van Beck over to Putnam. Doug. Putnam was like, come on, I wanted that kill. Vogler. Rigg on the dig. Middle. Stevens. Down and up, and Greer's going to send it across. Stevens is there again. Middle. Stevens. Off of Greer. It's dug up again. It's over. Rigg. Van Beck tips it across. Dug by Ford. Lewis goes down to get it. Free ball coming from Greer. Stevens. Van Beck. Middle to Stevens. Tips it across again. Dug by Ford. Off the block. Dug up. And it's going to fall. Good rally there from these two teams. And it's ultimately going to be, I believe, Vogler getting the tip kill and a side out. Much needed for the Rockets. Becca Lewis back to serve now. With her team down by 4. And that falls into the net just short. She was trying to drop that serve short. Didn't quite get enough on it to get it past the net before it dropped. Starks back to serve now. Starks served very well. You can see they got Greer way up short now. She served a couple aces in her last service. They weren't going to let it happen that time. Avery is there. Here comes Stevens. Off the block, dug up. Rigg's going to push it across. Shaw is there. Ford, middle to Vogler. Dug by Wilcox. Putnam can't get a hand, Rigg, Putnam couldn't get a hand on it. And it's going to be a side out. Fleck coming back in. Shaw will leave. And Ford will go back to serve for the Rockets. They changed their rotation a little bit. I don't think they changed the actual rotation as in the order, but they did change where the serve started. I don't know if that. Starks, Van Beck, Stevens, down it goes. Stevens back to serve now with her team up by 5. Greer, trouble with the pass on a serve receive. A nice pass ends up getting there, though. And I don't think anybody ever touched that. Fleck just kind of gave it a spin and didn't get it over the net. It's a point for Stevens. If it was Putnam with the block, but I don't think it got touched. Stevens is there to serve it up again. Up by 6 now. Greer, nice pass that time to Ford. Over to Vogler, off the block, and down it goes. Devin Vogler gets another kill, but she will go back to the service line now as Miley Miller comes back into the front row. So it's Avery, Esther, Fleck, and Miller in the front row for the Rockets. Another short serve. That's an overpass thrown over by Fleck. Back set. Rigg's going to track it down. It's going to be blocked again, punched up, and it's going to be 2 hits as Miller gets the block that time. 19-15. It is Vogler serving. It's Putnam in the middle. Or excuse me, Hart in the middle. Putnam on the right. Rigg on the left for the Suns. Outside Esther. Into the net. Never got over. Hart was there to block it anyway. It's a hitting error and a side out. Morgan Simmons coming in to serve. Kylie Putnam's going to take a seat. It's 20-15. Suns up by 5. They won set 1, 25-21. They didn't lead till 22-21. In that one, they've led since 8-7 in this one. Miller, excuse me, on the attack. Wilcox going to send it across. Nice little change of pace there. Esther on the attack, drops short. It's going to be tipped over by Fleck. It's going to be tipped down by Wilcox. Now it's going to be a free ball. Ford sends it across. Stevens is there. Putnam to Wilcox. And she's going to wind up and sail it out of bounds. A point for the Rockets on the side out. Jocelyn Esther is back in the game and serving now for the Rockets. Blocked by Fleck. A huge block on a big hit from Rigg, and it's 20-17. And a service error sends that one out. It's 21-17. And Van Beck back in to serve for the Suns. It was Van Beck who finished it up in the last set. Not going to happen. Well, maybe it will. And they're going to call illegal hit. Well, they say it's down. They didn't say illegal hit. It's a side out. She won't finish it up this time. Back to serve is Devin Vogler. Down by 3, 21-18. No, it's not going to be Shaw, excuse me, who just came in. Shaw back to serve. Stevens, Van Beck, out to Wilcox. Dug by Esther. Lewis is out of bounds, a hitting error. Side out to the Suns. Tegan Rigg back to serve now, 22-18 the score. Off the block and down, a kill for Miley Miller. Miller will leave, Greer will come in, and Greer will serve. Greer has had some success at the service line. Rigg, Van Beck. Stevens tips it down, and nobody was there over the top of Vogler. A side out, and it's 23-19. Putnam comes in, Simmons goes out. So it will be Starks, Stevens, and Putnam in the front row for the Suns. Wilcox serving it up. And that was not a pretty set, but it worked. Vogler's going to get the kill as she stuffed it into the block of Stevens, and Stevens couldn't do anything with it. Lewis is going back to serve. Now Vogler will be playing in the middle. It's Jocelyn Esther and Italy Ford in the front row now for the Rockets, joining Vogler. Vogler, dug by Rigg. Punched across by Stevens. Greer is there, quick in the middle to Vogler. And down it goes. We got a 2-point set, 23-21. Rushville-Industry is not going away in this one. Lewis back to serve again. Rigg, Van Beck, Stevens, down and in. Match point for the Suns as Adriana Starks comes back to serve. And again, they have brought Greer way up in the middle to try to cover that short serve. She goes right side to Shaw this time, outside to Jocelyn Esther, who sails that one out the back, and that's how this one's going to end. 25-21, 25-21. Southeastern gets the win over the Rushville-Industry Rockets here in Augusta at Southeastern High School. We will save talking to Coach Kerr until tomorrow night, so that will do it from Augusta, Illinois. 25-21, 25-21. Southeastern gets the win over the Rushville-Industry Rockets. A great win for the Suns. A good performance from the Rockets. Just couldn't quite finish either one of those match sets off. And that's how this one ends. We'll be back tomorrow night. QND in the house here at Southeastern High School tomorrow night. I do believe that's our only broadcast tomorrow night. We will pull up the schedule real quick before I let you go and tell you what we got going on the rest of the week. Southeastern, as I said, hosts on Tuesday QND. Macomb and QND is Wednesday, and West Prairie Southeastern is Wednesday. Then Thursday we have A-Town and Sherrard and BPC and Lewiston. Friday, Coach Kerr's already ready, so we'll go ahead and let him come on up. Friday, A-Town hosts Havana. West Prairie's at BPC. West Central travels to Flanagan, and Macomb travels to Knoxville. Those are the games that we will have on for you this Friday. And then next Monday, a little lighter schedule, to some extent. Got games every day, just not as many, I guess, as I look back at it. Volleyball tournament in BPC next weekend. Got all kinds of stuff coming up as Coach Kerr was so fast tonight. We'll let him get on here. You're got up here in a hurry tonight. I was going to let you off the hook, but you're so fast you didn't get off the hook.
That's all right. That's good.
The girls didn't come out as quick tonight. Rushville-Industry is not a bad volleyball team, though.
No, they did a nice job. Really give them a lot of credit. They played well tonight. I thought they did a lot of things nice and made us, I don't know, forced us to not play very well, I guess. I don't know. Did a really good job. Great coach. Coached against Lee. Actually coached against Ashley, too, their assistant coach. So do a really nice job over there, and they've got some good talent, and they really, played well tonight. They should be proud of themselves, and they really made us sweat, made us worry for sure.
Devin Vogler, there's not many teams in our area that wouldn't like to have her on their team, is there?
Yeah, no, she's a nice player. She's my cousin. She's a good player. She's.
Is that why she's good? Is because she's your cousin?
I think no, not at all.
No, not at all.
No. No, she's a nice athlete for sure. Really good player.
That must from the other side of the family. Is that where that comes from?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no question. Nice player for sure. She's really gotten under control too a little bit. She really, in the past she's just been a kind of a bull in the china shop sometimes and just plays so hard and plays with her emotions and hits the ball out of bounds and just plays almost a little, the court needs to be about twice the size for her. But now, tonight she really was under control. Really proud of her. She did a great job of, mixing it up and hitting the ball sometimes and dinking on us a little bit. So, yeah, she gave us some problems for sure. So she did a good job. So.
I think the nice thing that she gave you guys tonight was maybe more so than anybody I've seen all year, she was not afraid of Kara.
Yeah, for sure.
She went up and blocked her and hit against her and abused the block a little bit and blocked her several times and made Kara work a little bit more maybe than she's done against some of the players she's had to face.
Yeah, no question. She did a really good job with that. She, like you said, went right at her. So that was, good for Kara. I don't know how many kills she had, but obviously she led us again and did a good job for us offensively. And, it was one of those nights where we weren't as sharp as we, would have wanted to been and not as sharp as we've been all season. And I guess looking back, that was, to me, and I told the girls, that's impressive. A lot of teams lose that match tonight, with the lack of spunk we had. We've got Q&D tomorrow night, and we've got Kenzie back tomorrow, so it would have been really easy to look past this and let this one kind of trap us and let it slip up. So the fact that we were able to crawl out of that deficit in the first set and then just kind of scrape along the second one and come away with a win was good. A lot of teams wouldn't do that. So. We take for granted sometimes here that, win the games you're supposed to win, and sometimes that doesn't happen everywhere, and sometimes that doesn't happen, easily. So the fact that we're able to do that and make just enough plays, tribute to our girls. We didn't serve the ball very well, and then we didn't serve it very well, but then we got soft and served the ball tentatively, and that kind of played right into their hands. So, like I said, just kind of hung on and made enough plays to get to 25 first, and so fortunate to do that for sure tonight.
You know, you and I have been talking volleyball a lot of years, and you see things, and I thought it was funny. Adriana Starks dropped a couple aces with a drop, like a serve, just dropping at the 10-foot line.
Yep.
The last 3 or 4 times she came up, they brought Greer, the libero, all the way up to the 10-foot line. They were not going to let that happen again.
Yeah, that's something that Adriana does a good job. She's really had a good year for us as a senior, and playing good back row for us, and serving the ball well. So she really, one of the few that tonight that really did serve effectively. So she got that short serve in there, and she's she's pretty good at that. So that's kind of one of her weapons, and like you said, they made a correction, and she was able to still go out and be effective with a different serve too.
Yeah, and getting the ball in is the most important thing, right?
Man, I'll tell you what, we sometimes our better servers are sometimes when they're off, they're serving when Kara's in the front row. We need the ball in bounds when Kara's in the front row. So we'll always continue to work on that. Taken's had a great year from the line, and she kind of struggled tonight, and I think kind of got her head a little bit. And like I said, then she started serving soft and tentatively, and she's a weapon back there when she serves, and defensively for us. And obviously, she's getting some more swings now that Kenzie's been down on the shelf. But going back to Adriana, she did a good job for us serving for sure.
Missing Kenzie is never good, right?
Right.
And we've talked about this through the years too. But getting people into a game where they maybe normally wouldn't be, or changing things up and forcing them to do things maybe they aren't as accustomed to or aren't as comfortable with, tends to, if you can get through it like you guys have,
exactly,
it helps you down the stretch.
Exactly. That's the thing. With the regional seeding coming up this week, and with it being so tight at the top, it was really important for us to be successful without Kenzie. And obviously the big one in that group was the Macomb win for us, and that was really huge for us without Kenzie. And I didn't know if that could be a possibility for us, but we came out, really played well that night. And now we've got Notre Dame tomorrow and West Prairie on Wednesday, and Kenzie's back. The problem is, the good thing's having Kenzie back. The bad thing is she hadn't touched the ball and done anything athletically for 10 or 12 days. So we'll probably just throw her in there and see what she can do. So have high expectations for the great athletes, and hopefully she can come in and at least give us another good weapon on the outside against a really good team and a really tall team. And then obviously West Prairie, they're always tough. You never want to go into their place and try to play them. So 2 in a row for us. Then obviously we've got the United tournament on this weekend, and so that's several good matches. We play Orion, and could potentially Atlanta West, and potentially Henry Snatchwines, I think, undefeated on the other side of the bracket. So it'll be welcome to see Kenzie come back for sure.
When you play some of these people and you see Morgan Simmons coming in and play, and Kylie Putnam coming in and playing well, and Riley Hart coming in and doing what Riley Hart has to do, it's hard to really say how important that is for those kids who are put into situations that they haven't been in all year, and how well they have played for you in this stretch. I mean, those three of them that pop in my head. Riley plays quite a bit anyway, but Kylie and Morgan have been switching in and out, and they have played very well.
They really have. That's one thing that you don't notice too much, and we don't have lots of depth and lots of numbers this year, but our kids over there on the bench are pretty solid, and Kylie's done great, and Morgan's done a really good job, and like you said, they have stepped up, and the whole next man up mentality is it has its limits, but tonight and this past week they've done a great job, so it'll only bode well for them in the future, and they obviously have 1 or 2 more years left too, so it'll be nice to see what they do, and the experience that they've got, and the experience that they've got this week has been really good for them.
Well, Coach, I won't keep you. Always exciting to play Q&D, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of my favorite pastimes. You bet.
It's more exciting to play them at home or to travel to the pit?
Oh no, it's more exciting to play them here for sure. It's a good test. Obviously, we've had a really good run this year, had a good season, and they're always a good opponent. They're always well coached and lots and tons of athletes and size, and kind of the standard for our area for a long time. So. We'll go out there and kind of give them a try and see what we can do, and hopefully we can compete, and who knows what happens.
Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow night, won't we?
Find out tomorrow. Go
All right.
Cubbies. Go Cubbies. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on with the Cubs? They lost yesterday, right? Or no, they lost Saturday?
Saturday. They're getting ready to start here in a few minutes.
So did they play yesterday?
No.
They
It's
didn't play
0-1.
yesterday.
They play tonight. So
Who's
we'll
pitching
see.
for them?
Evan August pitching tonight. We'll see. I saw Justin Turner's leading off, so I'm not sure what Council's doing, but he's making them big money for this.
He thinks there needs to be a change.
Absolutely,
All
for
right.
sure.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Coach Kerr talking a little Cubby baseball on the way out. Thanks for joining us tonight here on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH. We'll be back here in Augusta tomorrow night. Quincy, Notre Dame, the Raiders are in the house. We'll see you then.